Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum. This is IslamTalk and I'm Farina Siddique. Today I want to talk about our own understanding about ourselves and the God. So lately we have seen a lot more disappointment, a lot more disparities, a lot more discouraged behavior among human beings. We see a lot of stresses, a lot more depression, the cases of anxiety, depression, insecurities, unsurety about themselves and other people. And as compared to the years before, people used to rely on community, rely on family, rely on each other as compared to today. So we don't have that community support power bank network around us, so we actually get disappointed very easy. And most importantly, people in the past who were believers actually had more complete reliance on God Almighty, Allah Subhana Wa Taa'la. People relied more on God, thinking that He's the exalter, He's the only sovereign, He will take care of my affairs, He is watching over me. But today, we have started treating ourselves as God. So we control everything. I get to do everything. I do things. God has no place in our lives these days, which is a real disaster happening to the human beings. Why? Because reliance on God, reliance on His mercy, reliance on His power, reliance on His sovereignty, reliance on His control over our affairs, reliance on Him being as a creator, actually gives us this solace, that understanding, and that help us build that connection with Him. So being mindful of Allah Subhana Wa Taa'la, being mindful of how He's watching over us, it gives us that strength, that power, that empowered state of mind that we require as human being. While when we rely on ourselves, how many of us think oh, you know what, you have to believe in yourself. No, you don't have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in Allah Subhana Wa Taa'la, or the God Almighty, empowering you, enabling you with the right skill set that you require for your own life. Right? So since we have started relying on ourselves, banking on our own self, our own ability, we are more discouraged. Why? Because we are not supreme beings. We are not creators, right? So we don't control every affair. We don't control every object. We don't control every impact. We don't control every result. So relying on ourselves does not allow us to actually even absorb or accept that we can fail. So when we fail because of our limited capacity, because of our reliance on ourselves, we fail miserably and we fall into depression and stresses. Because we are not reliant on Allah Subhana Wa Taa'la or the God Almighty, we are only reliant on ourselves. Right? So think about it. Psychologically, when you say, you know what, I am the best, I am the one who will take care of my kids, right? And if my kids are not going in the best way, they're not raised properly, that means when I was reliant on myself and I fail as a parent, I said, oh, you know what, I'm a failed parent, I should not be a parent. So that actually causes a lot of distress. While if we say, you know what, my children are Allah's amana, they are given to me as an amana, as an entrust by Allah Subhana Wa Taa'la. He takes care of them. I'm only the caretaker assigned by Him, appointed by Him. I don't get to control what the result is for my kids. My job is only to be the best of caregiver, best of caretaker, and ensure that they become the best productive part of this society as believers of Allah Subhana Wa Taa'la. So that's one thing, right? And that gives me that solace. You know what? I can only put in my best effort and Allah will control the result. As compared to this, when we say, you know what, this is my kid, I need to ensure I have to do something the very best, and I cannot be a failed parent, I cannot make mistakes, I cannot trip and fall, I have to be the best parent, most perfectionist and most perfect of parents. We can't. That causes a lot of stress. That causes a lot of issues for us because we are reliant on ourselves. When we go to a job, we do the same. I can take care of my business. I can take care of my job. I can take care of everything, the boss's issues, the colleagues' issues, the workplace, everything. I have to be the best because there's nobody else who can help me. So that understanding of relying on ourselves actually causes more depression and stresses. So think about it. Rely on God. Be mindful of God. Be mindful of your relationship with God. Today, Friday, try to connect more with Him. Try to understand that He is there to watch over you and His decisions are the best for you. Right? If you don't believe in that, you will always be upset and stressed. Why? Because His wisdom was nothing that you will take into account. Whatever you do, oh, you know what, is a disaster. I had a bad day. I see people saying, you know what, I had a bad day. Why? It wasn't a bad day. Things did not go the way you planned. Things went the way that He planned for you. See, there's an ayah in Quran, and we plan, and Allah plans, and His plans are the best. So we need to believe in that. We need to understand that. We need to accept that. And as soon as you understand this, you will be at peace. Your heart will be at peace. Your mind will be at peace. But you need to accept this, that He is watching over us. He has the best plans for us. And He is the one who is actually looking at our actions to actually see His acceptance with our complete submissions, with our complete, obedience towards Him as the Creator. And then He actually provides us that contentment of heart, that solace that we're talking about, that sakina, that actually helps us absorb, understand, and fully accept every decision He makes for us. Like it or not, because His wisdom is unimaginable, is unlimited. We are unlimited, right? We are completely limited. Our brain is like this, right? His wisdom is, unimaginable. So we need to believe in His wisdom. We need to understand and accept that we are a small being, and He is the one who created all these beings, and He's watching over all of us. Remember this, and keep me in your duas. If you like this video, if you agree with the concept, please do comment and share it with other people. Keep me in your duas, and have a good Friday. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.